When the baby wakes up, bathe him and make 6 spoons of the formula for him. Feed him every 3 hours. When he cries, check if his diaper is messed up. I'll be back before you know it, Ngozi said and dashed out before Chinedu could even respond. Chinedu was still talking to himself when he heard the baby cry. He immediately went to comfort him and then went on to do everything Ngozi had listed. By 12 p.m., when the baby was sleeping, he put him on the bed and went to make breakfast for himself. He was halfway through when he heard the baby cry again and rushed over to carry him. He had to strap the baby to his back to continue cooking. After eating, he went on to wash the baby's clothes. Chinedu couldn't go out that day as he was stuck at home taking care of the baby.
Many years ago, in the village, there lived a young man named Chinedu. He was a very talented carpenter who had a small workshop at the market. Chinedu had an old mother who relied on him for everything. Her health was always failing, and a huge chunk of the money he made from his carpentry usually went towards her medications. Every afternoon, a young lady named Ngozi would go around the market selling omlo and some local beverages. Chinedu was addicted to her food and soon transferred the love he had for the food to the seller. Ngozi was an orphan who used her cooking skills to make a living. Chinedu had been her customer for years, and when he made his intentions known to her, she gladly accepted. Chinedu had been observing Ngozi, and in all those years, he had not seen her portray a single questionable character. She was humble, calm, respectful, and did not mingle with men. He knew she would make a good wife and did not waste time taking her to see his mother. His mother was pleased with his choice and gave them her blessings. However, it did not take long before tragedy struck, and Chinedu's mother died even before he married Ngozi. He was devastated by her death and lost his touch with life, but Ngozi was with him all through, giving him the love and support he needed. This only made Chinedu more convinced that Ngozi would make a good wife. So, after burying his mother, he quickly went to meet Ngozi's uncle and paid her bride price. The two young lovers were now married and worked together for their common good. One evening, Chinedu returned from work and called Ngozi for a discussion. I have been thinking, and I believe we need to make some investments that would open up better opportunities for us. To start with, I'm no longer comfortable with you hawking all over the market. I want you to have a physical shop where people can come and buy food from you. It will be less stressful for you, and I believe it will make more money too. What do you think? Ngozi looked at her husband and sighed deeply. My husband, that is a good idea. I have always had that dream of owning my own omlo joint, but where is the money? To set up a joint is not a small project, it requires a lot of money. Chinedu was glad that she was interested and told her, don't worry, I will set it up for you. There is this contribution I have been doing. When I collect the money, I will also take a loan and set up a very big place for you. I know that you are very hardworking, and you will do well there. We only have ourselves now, so I am willing to invest in you. If you grow, I am also growing. Ngozi was overjoyed and thanked Chinedu, praying for him. Chinedu kept to his word and set up a very beautiful, big restaurant for Ngozi. He had taken a huge loan but did not mind and planned to gradually pay it back. Ngozi was blown away when she saw her restaurant. It was really big, and she had to employ 2 workers to assist her. Chinedu worked really hard towards repaying the loan, not wanting to put the burden on the new restaurant. It was better to allow the restaurant some months to stand solidly. Ngozi just had to contribute towards the feeding of the house while Chinedu handled most of the expenses. They both agreed to this and carried on happily. Months later, Ngozi got pregnant, and they were both very excited to become parents. However, that was when everything changed for them. The moment Ngozi became pregnant, her attitude and actions changed. She would have the strength to go to her restaurant and oversee everything, but as soon as she got home, she would immediately lose all her strength. One day, Ngozi returned home before Chinedu and was lying on the couch, lazily pressing her phone when he arrived. She murmured a simple greeting. When Chinedu asked for his food, she told him, "I brought back omla and yudu for you from the restaurant. It's in the kitchen, just warm it up and serve yourself." Chinedu was surprised. "Was that what you ate too? You brought back food from the restaurant?" Ngozi nodded without saying anything more. The same thing happened the next day and gradually became the norm in their house. Whenever Chinedu tried to complain, Ngozi would tell him that she couldn't afford to go through the stress of making another meal after returning from the restaurant. Chinedu understood and sometimes would return early to prepare dinner to avoid eating leftovers. He also started doing the house chores since Ngozi would not lift a finger at home, even though she never missed a day at her restaurant. Chinedu never had any issues with all this until Ngozi started to crave things that were out of their league. She asked Chinedu for money to buy baby things, but when he gave her some, she flared up immediately. "What is the meaning of this, Chinedu? Is this money for pepper or for salt? I said I want to get things for my precious baby, and you're giving me peanuts." Chinedu was shocked. "What is the problem, Ngozi? This money is more than enough to buy the things you need." Ngozi, who already had an idea of how she wanted to shop for her baby, would not accept his reasoning. "Just for the record, you did not contribute anything to this child. I will use my money to buy quality things for my baby, but don't mention anywhere that you bought anything for this baby because this money here is just for my transport and snacks." She walked out on Chinedu, leaving him in shock. As time passed, Ngozi's behavior only worsened. One day, Chinedu returned home to find Ngozi arranging expensive baby items. "Ngozi, where did you buy all this? It must have cost you a lot." Ngozi continued with what she was doing without saying a word. Chinedu asked, "I hope you're saving. After the child comes, we will need more money to look after him or her. Let's not spend all the money we have now." Ngozi could not bear it anymore and faced Chinedu. Just listen to yourself. Are you not ashamed? I should be managing because I am expecting a baby. If you know you are not capable of taking care of a baby, why did you impregnate me? Please, I have seen other women at antenatal that even go to shop abroad, and their husbands are not even complaining. I am the one trying to cover up for you, yet you won't respect yourself. Chinedu finally understood the problem. Wait, Ngozi. Don't tell me you're trying to impress people. I did not send you. I don't owe anybody any explanation as to how I choose to leave my family. I will only do what I can afford, so you better stop this now while it is still early. But Ngozi ignored him and started singing. She finally gave birth to a baby boy, and Chinedu was overjoyed. He started to make arrangements for the naming ceremony. On the 8th day, Ngozi told Chinedu about it, and he turned it down. We can't afford to throw a party now. Let's settle into this parenthood first instead of throwing away money we don't even have. We can call the pastor to come and pray over the names, and that's okay. Ngozi looked at him with disgust. You and who will call the pastor? That will never happen for my first child. For your information, I have already sewn matching outfits for all of us. It won't be hard that Ngozi, the CEO of Ngozi Omlo Joint, had an indoor ceremony. The whole community must hear of it and see it too. Chinedu was amused by Ngozi, thinking she must be joking, but it became clear she was serious when she started demanding money for the ceremony. She would nag him incessantly whenever he refused to give her. Ngozi ensured she had her way and planned the ceremony as she wanted. Chinedu was dumbfounded when he saw the level of preparations, the food, the clothes, the canopies. Everything was too much. What really bothered him was the caliber of women at the ceremony, rich women whose husbands were obviously wealthy. Ngozi acted all too familiar with them, ensuring they were served the special meals she had prepared. When they were leaving, they gave her cash gifts. After the ceremony, Chinedu tried to talk to Ngozi about the effect of hanging out with such women, but she silenced him. She had been giving Chinedu the excuse of not being able to produce milk as the reason she hadn't breastfed their child, but that night she told him plainly, I am not going to breastfeed any baby. Do you want my breast to fall? Please don't talk about this again. Other babies take formula, we will give him formula too. Chinedu was really getting confused at Ngozi's behavior. He didn't even know where to hold on to because she was just portraying several erratic behaviors. At this point, he was always expecting the unexpected. 3 months after she gave birth, Ngozi introduced a new routine. Early one morning, she dressed up and woke Chinedu to tell him that she had an appointment with a client who wanted to give her a huge catering job and she needed to be there as early as possible. When the baby wakes up, bathe him and make 6 spoons of the formula for him. Feed him every 3 hours. When he cries, check if his diaper is messed up. I'll be back before you know it, Ngozi said and dashed out before Chinedu could even respond. Chinedu was still talking to himself when he heard the baby cry. He immediately went to comfort him and then went on to do everything Ngozi had listed. By 12 p.m., when the baby was sleeping, he put him on the bed and went to make breakfast for himself. He was halfway through when he heard the baby cry again and rushed over to carry him. He had to strap the baby to his back to continue cooking. After eating, he went on to wash the baby's clothes. Chinedu couldn't go out that day as he was stuck at home taking care of the baby. By 7 p.m., Ngozi returned home looking different. She had a new dress on, different from the one she wore in the morning. She had also fixed longer nails and lashes, as well as new hair. Chinedu was shocked and didn't know the right question to ask her. Was it, "Where are you coming from since morning?" or "Why do you have a different look?" He was still trying to form his words when Ngozi walked past him, saying, "I am very tired, Chinedu. I had a long day. Please put the baby to sleep," and immediately fell on the bed and slept off. Chinedu was left in shock, looking like someone who had just seen an American Wonder. He had to tend to the baby alone that night and put him to sleep. Unfortunately for Chinedu, this soon became his reality. Ngozi got used to fixing long nails and was no longer interested in carrying her baby. She was also not around more often, so Chinedu had to take up the responsibility at home. He was no longer able to go to the shop like before and started to lose customers. He would stay at home doing house chores and taking care of the baby while Ngozi went out. Since she refused to look after the baby, Chinedu couldn't abandon him either. He just prayed that Ngozi would retrace her steps and make amends on time. She no longer even listened to him and had lost all the respect she had for him. However, Ngozi did not retrace her steps but instead went deeper. She started going out more often with her new group of friends while her workers stayed at her restaurant and gave her returns whenever she came back. On one of those outings, she met an elderly man who was very rich. He was a widower with grown children and took an interest in Ngozi, not minding that she was married. He would spoil her with gifts and treats, and Ngozi fell flat for him. This old man's name was Yakubu, and he wasted no time in telling Ngozi that he wanted to marry her. Ngozi was shocked and confused. She knew Yakubu loved her, but she didn't know he would go as far as wanting to marry her. She needed time to think about it. When she got home that day, she was met with Chinedu's excessive demands. Since Chinedu turned into a house husband, he no longer went out to his workshop. Even when he did, people were reluctant to give him jobs for fear he might not deliver on time. As such, Ngozi was the one providing everything at home. That night, he told her the baby's formula and diaper had finished, and most of the foodstuff at home was also finished. Ngozi, who had planned to return home that night to think about Yakubu's proposal, was irritated by the complaint and shouted at Chinedu, "How shameless can you be? You call yourself a man, and you can't even provide for your family. If I don't bring in money, you won't go out to look for money." At that moment, she knew she did not want to continue with the child's play with Chinedu. She would marry Yakubu and go on to enjoy life with him. When Yakubu told his children that he wanted to marry a younger lady, they were worried, but he assured them, "You know, I need someone I can trust close by. My health keeps failing me by the day, and I believe taking a younger wife will be best so she can stay with me and take care of me. Don't worry about your inheritance, the will has settled that. She's just a nominal wife with no inheritance attached. Just be nice to her during our marriage so she doesn't get angry and leave." His children saw reasons with their father and agreed to support him. Then, one morning, while Chinedu and the baby were still sleeping, Ngozi woke up, packed her bags, and left to be with Yakubu. By the time Chinedu woke up, she was long gone. After waiting for her for days, he had to accept his reality and face his child. He went to the restaurant he opened for her to check, but when he got there, he was told Ngozi had sold the place to another person.
Are you curious about what happened to Ngozi? Did Yakubu keep his promise and marry her? Or did Chinadu move on with his life? To uncover the fate of Chinadu and his child, click here to watch part 2 of this captivating story, or simply follow the link in the description below. Don't forget to like and share this story with fellow story lovers. Drop us a comment to let us know where you're watching from, and we'll respond as soon as we can. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more exclusive African folktales. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.